Buying your first vehicle, whether it be for your personal use or your business use, can be extremely scary. And there's a lot of pros that can happen, like getting a great price for it, but there's a ton of bad things that could happen, like buying a lemon, for example, where it seems great when you're purchasing it, but ends up just being a piece of crap down the road. Now, for my business, I've probably purchased about 30 to 40 vehicles over the past few years, and I've made some great purchases and I've made some terrible purchases. So today, I'm gonna go through the checklist that I use every single time when I'm purchasing a vehicle to make sure I don't purchase any lemons. And I haven't bought a bad one in a couple of years now, so it works. So the number one thing you need to do to make sure you don't buy a bad vehicle is do not ignore the red flags. If you're going through an ad that you find on a classified like Kijiji or Facebook Marketplace and something doesn't seem right, or the person that you're looking to purchase it from, if they say something that seems a little bit off, or if they're sort of a shady character, or they're reluctant to give you clear answers on things, if they're hesitant to let you do an inspection, if they're hesitant to give you the VIN number, those are all red flags and you cannot ignore them. They're real things. Not only are you making a judgment on the vehicle you're purchasing, you're making a judgment on the seller's character. You know, the way that you don't want them to hide any information from you, and you want to make sure you're asking the right questions to make sure that you get the information you need to make the right decision. But red flags are something that's very there. If you ask someone to provide you their driver's license and they say, oh no, you don't need that, red flag. If you have nothing to hide, what's the problem if you have my driver's license? What are you gonna do? Try to use it from your phone at a bar? There's nothing they can do with your driver's license that's going to be an issue. And no, they're not gonna steal your identity. It's just that you can make sure you have something to check out. If you want to take it for a test drive and they're hesitant to let you do so, major red flag, don't ignore that. That's sort of a crappy thing for the person to do, you know? So make sure that when something comes up that just doesn't seem right, it probably isn't right. And you need to either seek clarification or you need to go the other way and not waste your time and lose out on some money. The second thing you need to do is do a pre-purchase inspection on every single vehicle you buy. I know it costs $200 to $300. If you're going to another city to purchase something or something from your city, I like going to Canadian Tire. It's $200 to $300, but they do give you the full report of what's going on. How are the brakes? How are the fluids? How are all the components? How does it drive? How are the tires? It does a Carfax report for you. It tells you all the past big accidents. Is it active status, rebuild status? It goes through the whole list. Of course, I'd rather spend $200 to get a report like that, and maybe 2 hours of my time, than to take a chance purchasing an $8,000 vehicle only to find out it's a piece of crap that won't get past the driveway. So make sure you do the pre-purchase inspection here. I forgot to write it down. It is a massive red flag if the person you're purchasing the car from doesn't want you to do a pre-purchase inspection. Why don't they want you to do it? Because you're probably going to find something that's wrong that they know about. So it's extremely important to take your time. Don't rush the buying process. You want to get it right, and it's worth taking the time to do properly. So get it inspected. If you have a local mechanic that you like and trust, they most likely can do a pre-purchase inspection as well. Make sure they go in depth, not just looking over the surface and yeah, she's good to go. No, make sure they really go into the nitty-gritty and you're willing to pay them for their time to do so because you want to make sure you're doing the right thing for you. 3, test drive. I've had people purchase a vehicle from me before and they didn't even take it for a test drive. They come take a look at it, see the price, or sometimes they've even called me and just paid me for it based on my ad. Now, I wasn't selling a piece of crap by any means, but if I was them, I'd want to take it for a test drive. You never know what you're gonna get until you get right into it. When you're doing your test drive, there's a few things you want to do. You want to drive the vehicle at just residential speed, so call it 30 to 50 kilometers an hour as you go. You definitely want to take it up to highway speed so that it goes through all of the 5 or 6 gears that the vehicle has, so you can see how it performs. When you're driving the highway, call it 100 kilometers an hour. You want to make sure that there's not weird shaking going on. When you let go of the steering wheel, you don't fly off to the right or anything like that. You want to test those brakes. Give it a hard slam on the brakes, like not 100%, but an 80% brake to see how the vehicle performs, because you never want to be in a situation where you need to slam on the brakes and something goes wrong, right? Go into a parking lot, just go find a local church or a Walmart or something. Do a full 180 turn to the right, one full 80 turn, counterclockwise as well, to make sure that, and you listen to make sure there's not any weird sounds going on, so that, it just feels good, it sounds good. Go on some bumps, make sure the reverse works. Always make sure the reverse works. Make sure that AC works, because there's nothing worse than a super hot, sweaty vehicle on a hot summer day. Make sure the heat works, because the only thing worse than the AC not working is the heat not working when you need it, especially in winters like we have here in Alberta. Always do the test drive, and if they want to come with you, fantastic. Don't be turned off if someone asks for your keys to return or your driver's license for you to test drive their vehicle. They're giving you a piece of their property. It's not a red flag for them to be overly cautious about that. And the more cautious they are, you can probably bet they're a real person, not some crook just trying to get rid of a piece of crap. The fourth step, and very important, is to judge the character of the seller. The person that's selling it to you, do they seem shady? Are they avoiding direct questions? Are they sort of odd? You don't want to buy a vehicle from an oddball. You want to make sure the person you go to is respectful. They're honest with things. If they only tell you good things about the vehicle and you ask them, okay, is there anything wrong with it that I need to be aware of for the next couple of years because I'm driving this for myself or I have kids or something like that, and they go, oh no, she's 100% good to go. Come on. Everything has its issues. I don't mind it if there's something bad with the vehicle I'm about to buy, but I need to know what it is so I can judge that to my costs, right? So make sure that the person you're speaking with, you can tell they're being an honest person, authentic. They're not rushing into the sell. The more someone needs to try to sell you the vehicle, the worse it probably is to buy. A good person with nothing to hide, a nice solid vehicle, and a good credible persona will probably say very little when you're doing your inspection, and they'll answer any questions you have, but they're not going, oh yeah, man, she's a real beaut. She's going to take you for 1,000 kilometers as you go. Hey, why don't you just buy it today? I'll give you $300 off. You don't need a salesman to sell you a car. You just need a person, and make sure that they answer your questions nice and thoroughly. A fifth one that's actually nothing to do with the vehicle, but more about the buyers, to get a picture of their driver's license. I've made the mistake of purchasing a vehicle without getting the person's driver's license, only to find out and get a call from the cops a couple of days later that I purchased a vehicle from someone that stole one. If I would have had his driver's license, I could have at least verified that he was the previous owner at the registry. I could have done my lien check. I could have given that to the cops. Hey, here's the person I bought it from. Here's their address. Let's go get them. I didn't get it, right? And I didn't get a picture of it, and that was my problem. I had to actually return the vehicle to the previous owner, and I was out a couple $1,000s. So make sure you always get a picture of the driver's license. Like I said before, if they don't give it to you, that is a major red flag. I don't need to take it and photocopy. Just let me take a picture. At least let me see it and let me write down some stuff when I go there. You want to make sure that they're a legit person that you're purchasing it from and that they're not trying to hide anything. Also, a side note here, back to the pre-purchase inspection, it may or may not tell you that the vehicle is active or rebuilt status, but you want to do your due diligence to make sure you're buying an active vehicle that was registered in your province, because if you buy a vehicle from Saskatchewan and you're in Alberta, for you to get this Saskatchewan vehicle insured in Alberta, you've got to do a full out-of-province inspection, and they go through that vehicle with a fine-tooth comb. One little problem they're going to tell you to fix, and you might have bought yourself a nightmare. Make sure it's active, because if it's rebuilt, that means it's been in an accident where the insurance actually had to fully redo the car for a large amount, and sellability of a rebuilt is much lower, so you can get a much lower price for when you go to sell it later, because there's been a major accident, and that accident might lead to future difficulties down the road. Just like if you got into an accident yourself and you hurt yourself and you're good to go, but then a problem comes up 5-10 years later that you didn't even know was a thing, but it was based on that accident. Same thing for a big accident in your car. You don't want previous problems coming up as a future issue. Last but not least, and perhaps even the most important one, I hope you guys can still see this, it's getting pretty low. Don't buy the first one you see. Take your time. Buying a vehicle is fun. This is a nice, cool thing. This is either for your business, this is for personal. It could be your first car. Enjoy it. Go test drive a few different things. Get a feel for what the type of cars that you like to purchase. On a commercial side of things, I'm a big Ford guy. On the personal side of things, I'm a big Honda guy. So make sure you get a feel for what kind of vehicles you would like to try. Go see a lot of people. And hey, the best part about buying used is that you can negotiate. People are usually willing to move about 15 to 20% off their listing price. You got to know how to ask for it. And I'll probably do a separate video on how to negotiate to get the best price on a vehicle. But long story short, avoid buying at lemon based on my experiences. And these are the 6 things I do every single time I buy a car, because I know that making the right decision will save you thousands of dollars, but making the wrong decision can cost you also thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. Hope this helps, guys. If you have any questions or anything you want me to touch on the next video, please leave a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're gonna keep pumping these videos out for viewers like you, and we really do appreciate you guys supporting us so far. Let's keep them going.